Just three ordinary people from the hills of eastern Kentucky. We don't have all the answers, but we do have all the questions. This is the Just Add Bourbon podcast with Jimmy Don, JD, and Don. Welcome, everybody, to the Just Add Bourbon podcast.
I'm Don Giesica.
And we don't have any idea where JD is.
So we've lost him.
We've lost JD. He's normally very prompt on Sundays. He's on usually before Don is, and we usually sit around and chat a bit. I've texted him. I don't know where he is. So I know the Chiefs played earlier today. My guess is he's either taking a nap or he's out fixing a water pipe somewhere. If I had to guess, he's one of those two places. I'm sure he'll text me here in just a little bit and let me know, and I'll update you guys once I know. But it's another beautiful Sunday evening here in the hills of eastern Kentucky, and we, I think, have a fun show today. Don and I are going to, since JD's not here, we're going to bash
talk
on
about
Biden.
Talk about JD. No, just kidding.
Yeah, we're going to make fun of JD for a solid hour, so you can join in the chat. Michael Harrison has already started. So, yeah, we're there. That's a possibility, too. But my guess is, Harrison he's probably asleep. If I was guessing, he's asleep. So,
yeah.
But, yeah, no, Don, it's been a interesting weekend. We always kind of start the show with sports talk.
Right.
Because the Kentucky Wildcats have, been so good so far this year. But there's something else. We'll start with the Cats, but then there's something else. My favorite fan base to make fun of showed their asses last night in a big way. And, we're going to talk about them, and I'm going to rant on them. And, look, somebody already knows what I'm talking about. Look.
Yeah. Yeah, no surprise. They kept me up all night last night, Jimmy Don. My God, what is going on?
So, the Cats went down to Georgia, and it was time to kind of really test where we were. I had myself convinced that we could beat Georgia. Right. And by really probably mid-third quarter, I was like, wow, Georgia's really good. I mean, really good. We're not bad either.
No, we're not. I just think it's probably Georgia's year.
I do too. And we didn't get housed. We basically ended the game with an 11-minute drive on that massive defense for a score, basically to put it under the spread, which I'm sure made the people in Vegas and all the Georgia fans who bet the over, that Georgia would cover. No, they didn't. We got it down to 17, and really, what I saw was that we are a good team, but I think what you said is absolutely correct. This may be Georgia's year. Yeah. That's one of the best defenses I've ever seen.
Right. Well, Todd's from Georgia, so we're Georgia and Kentucky split in this house. We've watched them all year. We watch them every year. So I kind of struck a deal with him that I'll support their football team until it comes up with Kentucky, and he'll support my basketball team. Georgia defense is where everybody's going to have a problem. And they played with us. Look, I love Kentucky, and we're doing great. We have arrived. Yeah, everybody needs to accept Kentucky has arrived. We've got a seat at the table. We're a legitimate program, and we need respect. And we dropped. I didn't feel like we should actually drop. And, I mean, that may seem a little, ambitious for me, but I did not think that we should drop from 11 to 15. We went in and we challenged the number one team, and we made sure somehow that they didn't cover. I think that's fair play. And people were like, you shouldn't celebrate that. This is definitely something we should celebrate. This is Kentucky going to a big football school, and we made a statement. We didn't get shut out. Matter of fact, we were the first team that they've ever allowed points on the board before the half, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
And yes, 99, Jason Rundle. Oh, my God. Jordan Davis, love him. But, I mean, he's a great defensive guy. What are you going to do with somebody like that? And then Carter, you've got Carter. Carter's just all over the place. And I think he's O-line.
Look, they're unbelievable. And their offense was better. And Todd's right, 14-7 at half. That's exactly where we wanted to be.
Yeah.
Going into the half, if you would have told me 14-7, I would have been tickled to death. I was like, okay, we're in the game. We've got a chance.
Right.
And then their offense, I have to say, everybody knows their defense, but their offense was better than I expected.
This time.
Yeah, I mean, they really were.
Yeah.
Like, they played really well yesterday, and our defense are no scrubs. I mean, they're not. We made some mental errors that, like, if we would have covered that one fumble, because we could have easily, that they called a fumble, thought it was an incomplete pass. We made some mental errors that could have made that game a little bit different and maybe tightened them up just a little more to where we maybe would have had a better chance. But no, that's one of the better college football teams. I've seen Stoops compared them to the 85 Bears.
They're an NFL team right now. I mean, Jordan Davis could have went to the NFL. He said he's going to come back and it's going to be his revenge tour. He gets a lot of press, as he should. But, boy, they've got lots of 5 stars, Jimmy Don. 5 stars. What did we roll up with?
And we have 0 5 stars.
Exactly, and we didn't get shut out. So that's my take on that. I was proud of how Kentucky did. I did not go in thinking we were going to win at all. I just didn't feel like we would get through the defense, and nobody has.
No, nobody has. And, I'm your prototypical Kentucky football fan where by the end of the week, I have myself convinced we're going to beat them. It's our time. Statistically, we're due. And then I saw that defense, and I was like, God, I mean, like, they're good. And the thing is what, we are set up to have a very, very special year. We get the bye week, which is
already
we need it. So we go through the bye. Now we play Mississippi State on the road. That's the game I'm truly worried about. And then we come back home for one of the last 2 home games, which, of course, I will attend. And we play the Tennessee Volunteers, who after they beat 2 bad teams, Missouri and South Carolina, thought they were going to win the national championship.
Keep it up, Jimmy, and I'll sling this honest.
Oh, my goodness. Listen, they thought – and South Carolina barely beat Vandy last night.
Right.
They're 2 bad teams that they beat, and then they played a real team and lost their minds. They played well. I mean, like, it was a pretty decent game. And then their fans do what Tennessee fans do. Tennessee fans, I've traveled all around the SEC. And if you're from Tennessee and you're watching this, you're just going to have to listen, because it's probably not you. It's like a lot of things. It's a small group of people. But my experience with Tennessee fans is they are awful. They are the worst fans in the SEC. If you travel, if they come to your stadium, they are the worst. And they showed exactly why that is last night by pitching garbage on the field, throwing mustard bottles, threw a golf ball at Lane Kiffin.
Right.
And it was, if I was a Tennessee fan, I would be embarrassed.
Right. And Mostar, Tennessee's my home too. And we live in Knoxville. We have went to Neyland. We went to Thompson Bowling. I told you guys that we've gotten into altercations in Knoxville. I've went to Florida. I went to Georgia. We've went to bunches of stadiums. And Tennessee is where we always, end up throwing hands. And that's risky. So when that happens, what do? You stop going there. Now, we have tickets to Georgia and Tennessee coming up. And I'll be honest, we're nervous. We're totally nervous because I've got kids, Jimmy Don. I just want to go and watch a game. I don't want to get thrown in jail. I will say, I really don't, I will say the UT has done a lot to try to correct when opposing teams come in. They really have. I don't know what happened last night other than it being, pent up hate by hating Lane Kiffin. But that was 10 years ago. And the way that they are allowing Lane Kiffin to live in their head, they're kind of acting like a Lifetime movie to where you never get over a breakup. I mean, get over it. But, pelting stuff onto the field to where you could hurt people, got kids having to leave and crying. It's insane. Tennessee was insane. And I've got Tennessee fans trying to defend last night. And I just, there is no defense for last night. There is none. They can say every fan base has bad fans. I completely agree. We all have bad fans. But at what point do we look at those bad fans and say, hey, you're ruining it for all of us? So SEC is going to find Tennessee. That's coming, right? Then they're going to have to hire more people. They're going to have to hire more crowd control, security, LEOs. What happens when you do that? Your ticket costs go up. You're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, and the thing is Don, is they believe that they are still Tennessee from 15, 20 years ago, and they're not.
Well, they believe they're still the supermodels, the really hot ones from the 90s and the early 2000s, and they're the current ones. They're the ones, they're Kamala Harris' stepdaughter, you know what I mean? I mean, you still may be hot, but you ain't that hot yet. So let's calm down. You've not even been relevant for years. And boy, they're coming for Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. No, they are for sure.
So Lexington had better be loud and proud.
Oh, no, it will. It'll be off the chain. Like I said, the game that really worries me is Mississippi State, because playing them on the road, that's always a hard game for us. Oh, yeah, they fined us $250,000. So I think Tennessee, doing what they did, at least $500,000. They probably should get fined for that. Yeah, so it's ridiculous. So Don, there's a comment here. We'll kind of roll off the sports stuff, and there's a comment here. We just might as well start right here. Okay. What are your views on gas prices and the cargo ship problem?
Well, Democrats.
No.
This is what happens every time Democrats are in charge. We have to pay more for things that we need to get by day to day. So I'm always braced for it. And now they have complete control. So, we're not going to get out of this easy until 2022.
We were talking a little bit, before we came on, and I'm willing, because of COVID and the things, I was willing to give Trump a break on some of the things because it was new. Nobody really knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. And so you were going to have some problems, as you work through. And I was willing to give Trump a break. I'm also willing to give Biden a break.
Sure. Because,
and his administration for that matter, a break on some things. But at some point, they have to take credit for this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, responsibility is the better word. They have to take responsibility for it, because COVID definitely broke the supply chain, right? Like there was something, but COVID has been going on for 2 years now.
Right.
That's more than enough time to figure out how we fix it, right? Like how we fix it, whether we start manufacturing things here in this country again, we fire up some of these manufacturing plants. We don't worry so much about getting, having a world economy.
Right.
They can take care of them. We'll take care of us. And then we can ship things to them if they need to. You've got these very democratic states like New York and New Jersey, where most of the ports are that people bring stuff into the country. Well, then you've got DeSantis down in Florida who said, hey, bring it down here. And I love that. Like, I was like, that tickled me to death. I was like, absolutely, bring it down there.
People got mad about that.
Yeah. But
Isn't that insane?
Oh, yeah. Well, and the thing is, hey, you're having trouble getting it up there? Come down here. Well, we've got the highways, we've got the ports, we've got all those things. And, they got the ports. They, run cruise ships out there constantly.
It should not be a competition, Jimmy Don.
No.
When Americans need supplies, it shouldn't be a competition between Democrats and Republicans on who's going to bring it in. So when I saw people, getting mad because DeSantis tried to come up with a solution, why would you get angry about that?
Right.
It makes zero sense. We're supposed to be United States of America.
JD just texted me back.
Yeah.
With an expletive that I will not use because Betty Jo is here. Don might say it, Betty Jo, but I don't.
But there. I agree, Caitlin. Totally agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. Oh, here's our boy. Let's bring him in.
Uh-oh.
What's going on, man?
We got to change subjects.
Y'all ain't going to believe this. I just woke up.
What did I tell you?
Yeah.
I guarantee he's taking a nap.
You pegged that. Y'all are like a little old married couple.
We really are. I've been around long enough. We've done this show long enough together. Like, because I know if JD will be here, like JD's like me, he loves to get together on Sunday as much as I do, and I knew he is asleep.
JD, we were talking about the supply chain problem.
Yeah, seems like a real problem. We got a bunch of cargo ships backed up out in California. Pete Buttigieg's transportation cabinet guy is supposed to be taking care of it, Secretary of Transportation. I watched him on Meet the Press this morning actually talking about it. It's a big problem. They've now got ports opened up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's been tough getting everybody on the same page, though. I guess it's a big, it's not some small thing to get everybody on the same page. A lot of moving parts to get everybody moving, getting things unloaded, and it's been a challenge for sure.
But let me ask this, JD. We're not reinventing the wheel here. We've been doing this for years and years and years at these ports.
Sure.
Like, what? Because I didn't watch Meet the Press this morning. And Buttigieg was apparently off on maternity leave, which is fine if they've got a kid and it's his right to take maternity leave. But he's got a pretty big job, and we got a pretty big issue right now. So to me, it seems like the man ought to be at work. That's where he's at.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. There's a good point to be made there as well. Hard to argue with that, but also, it's the government dealing with private sector. A lot of these people, these industries that the government is dealing with is private sector companies. So you can't just mandate that these cargo ships be unloaded 24 hours, 7 days a week, because you got to have drivers, you got to have places, warehouses, you got to have. So, like I said, it's a lot of moving parts, and it's a big job, and you can't just mandate people be there to get their stuff off these ships, off these cargo.
Yeah, and I think Todd makes a great point here. The Great Resignation. No one wants to work these jobs. And, there is a point to be made, and it kind of goes back to all this free money that was given away and all this high unemployment. You can shake your head, JD, but you're seeing it right now, dude. You can't go anywhere around here. People don't want to work.
Yeah, bro, it's hard to make that argument. I mean, I get it. But unemployment's at 5.4%. It's not like people don't want to work. Unemployment's not high.
But you realize they stopped counting all these people that aren't working after a certain period of time in the unemployment numbers, right? They don't keep a running total. After a certain period of time, those people drop off the unemployment. No, even though they're still unemployed.
So that's always been the case then, right? So,
right. It's always been the case.
So unemployment is still just 5.4% no matter which one you shake it. So it's not like people ain't working. People want to work. But also people want to get paid, man. People want to complain that there's no unemployment, then they want to complain that the prices are going to go up. They want to get to make a living wage. So it's like a catch-22, man. You can't have both ways.
Well, let's remember, we spent a long time making fun and belittling all of these jobs that we need now. These are the most important jobs in the world. The trade jobs are what keeps it spinning. We all have a role. All of us have a role to play in making things go round and round. We've spent decades pushing college degrees. You can't make it unless you have 4 and 5 college degrees. We make fun of people on Facebook that we disagree with, and then we'll throw it out and say, oh, where'd you go to school? You ain't got a degree, da-da-da. We've belittled these people. We've belittled truck drivers, coal miners. We've belittled housekeeping, everybody that we need. And guess what? They've listened to that for years. So now they have an opportunity to sit at home and go, you know what? I'm going to clog this up. I'm not going back until I get the pay that I want, the benefits I want, and the schedules I want. Good for them. Honestly, I think people should rise up and go, here you go. You're going to pay attention to me because I'm tired of seeing celebrities get money and politicians get money. You're going to pay attention to me now. I totally get that. But what role does government have in creating and in resolving this mess that we have? I mean, Democrats are in charge. How are they going to help us? We can't sit and just watch this inflation shoot through the roof and go, oh, well, the workers need more, or this is happening, or that's happening. How do we fix it? We've got to quit pointing fingers and come up with a reason or a way of how we can find a resolution. And I'm hearing nothing. Nothing.
No, I feel the same way, but it's not like the Republicans are bringing great ideas to the table either.
They're not in charge. But they're not in charge.
But you can still, the do nothing Democrats was a coined phrase by Donald Trump. But now the Republicans are not doing anything either, even though they're not in charge. They can still bring ideas to the table. We can still we could bring ideas to the table, but anything that we brought right now, that's right. Nobody's doing nothing, and ultimately the buck stops with Biden. So I'm just interested in what the holidays, they're telling us our holidays aren't going to look good. And we are not pushing back on this.
I mean, the pandemic can only go so far. We can only ride that wave so far. Everything's open.
Yeah, I mean, but also you got to think about there's a reason there's a bunch of ships in the harbor waiting to get unloaded with goods in them. It's because there's a lot of people that are working. If you say 5.4% unemployment rate, that means 94.5% of people are working. So people are working, and the economy is not in the tank. But there are some issues, and I think they'll get resolved. Getting these ports open 24/7 a day, I think it'll work.
Yeah. Do you guys think that where we have sat around, and social media hasn't helped, but do you think that where we've sat around and we have absorbed all these ideas of free, and people have listened to that and they believe that, and now they're just sitting home thinking, if I sit here, things will come to me, so I'm not worried about it? Do you think that's any part of the problem at all?
No,
a societal thing? Because see, I see this entitlement. I see people who are looking really entitled.
Whose smoke detector's going off?
It's me. It's mine.
How long have you been doing that, bro? How about you kind of got used to the noise at this point?
Well, no, it was doing it last week, and I changed the one, and then another one started beeping.
Right. Hey, JD, did you notice? Wait, can y'all see what I'm wearing? Look, y'all. Look, you missed the football. You missed the football.
I hope you lost the bet with your husband.
We're going to have to. Yeah, what? I missed that.
I said, I hope you lost the bet with your husband.
Yes, I didn't think that we were going to win. So.
No,
yeah. Well, JD, I want to push back a little bit again on your unemployment number, because you're right. The way that they report unemployment is after a certain point, whether these people are working or not, it falls off. So 95% of the people aren't working. It is probably more like 80% of the people are working, and you've got this big job gap because those people are still unemployed and still on benefits right now because of the COVID stuff.
No, those benefits run out in September.
So, there's still a bunch of people not working. Like, what are they doing, I guess is my question. Like, what are these people doing?
I mean, honestly, man, it's none of my business. If they're not getting a government check from us, and we're not paying for their wages, and they want to use that as a negotiating chip to get a better job, better pay, it ain't none of my business what they're doing.
That makes sense. All right. So as far as this kind of flows over to the Southwest discussion too, because you had the major delays, with the Southwest airline where people were getting stuck in airports for days. And the excuse that they used was weather, which was probably part of it. Every good lie is based on some kind of truth, right? So that was probably part of it.
Right.
But how much of it do we believe was really these pilots staying home, for various reasons, whether they're trying to push for more money or they don't want to be mandated to take a COVID vaccine? What do we think that is? Because you've got all these things happening, man, and it's really kind of unprecedented in some ways. And it either comes back to not being able to get people to work, period, or a vaccine mandate. So, Dawn, where do you fall on that as far as like with Southwest?
I think the vaccine mandates killed us. I do. I think people are rising up. They don't, I'm all for vaccines. You guys can go through every podcast and see that that's true. But where does it stop? Where does it stop with these vaccines? We're talking boosters now. Are we going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots? Are we going to lose fully vaccinated status if we don't take a booster? So I get why these people are not wanting to take their vaccines. Lots of them have natural antibodies that they've been able to prove, and they just don't want the government telling them that they have to take a vaccine that we have no long-term data on yet. I get it. I think it hurt us. But we knew the mandates were going to hurt us, and Biden knew they were going to hurt us. So, we'll just see if they can get through it. Now, Southwest has retracted the mandate, and so has Delta, because this is a big hit. I mean, we're talking about airplanes being grounded. This is a bottleneck.
JD, where do you fall on that? So, I mean, you talk about mandates hurting us. I mean, mandates have hurt us, maybe financially, but it's also probably kept a lot of people alive and going to save a lot of lives. That's the thing about, these mandates, even when it goes, if you talk about masks, if you're talking about vaccines or any of these things, no travel or restrictions and all that stuff, we don't know at the end of the day how many lives it's going to end up saving, because we can't possibly generate that number. But I'm sure these mandates are going to end up saving people's lives. But we don't have many. So if they hurt us financially, maybe some, but They'll probably end up saving a lot of people's lives, and long term, it probably didn't hurt us because those people are going to continue working and continue being part of society that contributing part of society. So
yeah, eventually we'll get.
You say short term it hurt us, but I don't know that. Man, you can say that long term it hurts.
Yeah, I mean, eventually we'll get through it. I don't know what the cost will be, and we have no idea. But I mean, eventually we'll get through it. But I just am not a mandate person.
Yeah, definitely.
Nobody should be a mandate person because they keep moving the goalpost.
Yep.
I mean, if they said, okay, let's all take one vaccine, I think everybody probably would have. But now we're here. Look at Israel. I mean, it's just one right after the other. So
but vaccine mandates aren't a new thing, though. We've been doing vaccine mandates since America's been America. So
yeah, we know that. We know that, but not for a brand new vaccine.
Well, every vaccine was always new.
Well, and I'm going to say this out of ignorance, but let me just say this: the definition of a vaccine has been changed because the smallpox vaccine, you took one shot and it went away. With COVID, it doesn't go away. Now you're going to have to take a second shot or a third shot. And my guess is, as the money grab continues with this, it's going to be something that's every single year. And the way that they've made because just like flu vaccinations, right? With the flu shot, for example, we know that every year, you can get a flu shot, right? And it'll try to help you fight off the flu. It's a different strain every year. And I think that COVID will eventually be that as well. There will be a shot available. But the question is with these mandates, because I am not anti-vax at all. I never have been. I am about choice. It's about being able to decide what you want to do. And while I respect what JD says, and I know JD's heart, and I know JD's a good person, that he's, these people staying alive is important. And it is important. And we want everybody to live through this that can. But at some point, it's about personal responsibility in what you choose to do. The government should not be able to tell you how to take care of yourself in the sense that it seems like they are, and then keep moving it. Because Fauci, there was something that came out today, said, well, probably should have taken 2 Johnson & Johnson shots. They don't know. And every time
science works, guys.
I know that. I understand that, JD. And I don't disagree with you. It changes. But their message from the jump and has been is you have to take this. If you take this, then we can fix this. And that's not true.
Right.
It is, they keep moving the goalpost in that sense. And I don't disagree with you that science changes, and that is science. Mm-hmm. But can you not see where people might be a little hesitant?
I do see. But my problem is with that, it's like people saying, oh, it's your personal choice. But, you can't walk down the street and shoot somebody in the face with a gun. That's not a personal choice. So you can't go out and infect people with a disease that's proven to be very, very deadly.
But you can do the same thing if you're vaccinated.
No, Jimmy, now we've been through this, man. We've been through the numbers. Your chance of infecting somebody after your vaccine is way different than your numbers before you get vaccinated. Way different, and way less likely. So that's not true. What you said at all is not true.
So it's way less likely.
But yeah,
it's likely, but it can happen.
But it can happen. But the numbers are not nowhere near what they are without being vaccinated. Is that true or not?
Yeah. Both of you are right. You can absolutely still spread COVID after being vaccinated. But yes, it is from what they know, because it keeps changing. It does look like it now is a lower risk of infecting someone from a vaccinated person. But science it keeps changing and changing and changing. And that's why people are scared. You got to remember, these are the same people. We're talking about the FDA. These are the same people that slaughtered the region that we're sitting in. Those same people were approving opioids left and right, sending them in here left and right, and slaughtered us. So people are going to be hesitant when it comes to government, especially government that can't make up their mind. I get science changes. We all know that. But we probably need to just get up there and say, look, let's start with this vaccine, get you some antibodies, and then we'll work on, masking and social distancing or whatever else we need to do. But they're not doing that. It's vaccine, or you can't go here, you can't go there, you can't fly here, you can't work here. And that's starting to turn people off. I get it. I really do. We have to have mandates for other vaccines to go to school and things of that nature. But I just don't know where this is going to end.
So, but a lot of that, what you're kicking back on, is not have anything to do with government at all. A lot of these are private industries or private businesses that are creating these mandates.
Right, but they're private businesses.
If you want to come and do this, you got to do that. If you want to go to Rock on the Range, Jimmy Don, you got to have a vaccine or a negative COVID test.
Right.
So that's not. So we're talking about two different things here.
Well, no, because when he made his, yes and no. When he made his mandate, those mandates came with fines if you had X amount number of employees. So that pushed private industries to go further, even if they wasn't going to. That kind of pushed them over. So the feds did move in, and that pushed us over. Because I'm all about private businesses being able to do what they want to do. I think you should be able to do that. Like Todd said, it's my only libertarian fan. But I think that people ought to be able to run their businesses the way they need to run them. But when the feds make it hard to, then that's going to shift them over a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, this is even before the mandate that come from Biden about those businesses. I'm talking about like Jimmy Don and Southwest. Those were both prior to those.
They both retracted. They both, from what I understand, they both retracted and are no longer going to mandate it, I do believe.
Right. So then what you just said then is not having an effect then because people are still pulling back from it then.
Well, I know the CEO of Southwest said that he never wanted to put a mandate in place in the first place,
right.
But because of the government's mandate, he felt like he didn't have a choice.
Right.
And, because they're going to fine you. And then if you, depending on what those fines are, say you want to go to court, and here, I'll put it up there.
That got us all tickled.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
He's being sarcastic, by the way.
I know.
We know. We think it's funny.
It's going to cost a lot legally to go and fight that, so it's just not worth it. So like for a business like mine, if I had, that many employees that I had to do it or face a fine, I'm going to have to mandate my employees to do it because I can't afford to pay the fine and I can't afford to fight it legally.
Sure.
So it's just, I am just, like I said, I am not anti-vax in the least. I think if you want to get vaccinated, go get vaccinated. Do it for yourself. I am very much anti-mandate, especially when it comes to our medical health.
So
that's just me.
Here's the deal with the final straw for me on this is we're finally starting to turn the corner on this thing, finally. And it's not coincidence that the vaccine numbers are so high now, finally, that we're finally starting to turn this corner. That's the reason why we're starting to turn this corner is because of this vaccine and because of those mandates. And it's been effective. And it's got
absolutely. The vaccine, but do not sleep on natural immunity either. We have a ton of people who've been infected plus the vaccines. Yes. And it's like nature's trying to tell us all to work together. I'm pro antibody. So I think that if somebody has antibodies and they're to a neutralizing effect, then they should be exempt from a vaccine mandate at their work. But government's not wanting to look at that at all, and that causes problems. So
I think that's a very valid point. I did do a little research on that this week and looked at some natural antibody numbers, and they are there to look at now. Finally, not many. You got to look for them if you want to find them, but it looks like the natural antibody doesn't protect you as long as the vaccine does. That is one thing.
Yeah, well, we all wane, and you can find something to support everything, I guess, because you're right. You can get infected with the flu in 2018 and get it again in 19, or may even get it 6 months later in 2018. But still, and that's why we have these really good tests now that can give you an idea if you're neutralizing or not. So either way, I think the mandates are, tough. I understand them. I get why we have to have them. I wish we didn't have to have them. I wish that we could all work together in the middle, but let me be wishful thinking Dawn up in here, y'all.
Well, and the other thing too is like, a lot of people were crushing Florida and, because they don't have them. And now Florida numbers are good. They went through their spike. People got sick. They either got vaccinated or they developed natural immunity. And the numbers have come back down. I think we'll probably see another spike again when we get into the winter, when people actually start to get sick. I think we may see another one. It is, to me, and like I said, and everybody knows I have this conspiratorial mind. It's the opioid crisis, which is something that we've talked about a lot, is far, far worse than what this COVID crisis is. And we spend all this attention trying to force people to do that when we don't flip it on something that really matters, which really affects our region more than COVID does. And that's the part that that just really bothers me. It's like I can't stand it. They keep pushing it.
There's a huge difference though. There's that
we
right,
don't,
just not
because we don't catch that. I mean,
but opioids not a communicable disease. You're not going to catch.
You're right. You're right.
Addiction
yeah, but
Sorry.
That's
just so the steps that the government can take are very limited when it comes to opioid addiction and it's not communicable. So that makes a big difference.
Yeah,
that's all there is to say about that. So I get why the government takes a stance on this and not the other. But I also am on record for saying how important it is to stand up against, opioids and the line that's pumped opioids into our communities for years and years now.
Yeah, and I think that's why I think the opioid crisis is exactly why our people tend to be the most skittish when it comes to listening to the government about these mandates.
Maybe not the same companies, but the same people.
It's the same people. Yeah.
That push the opioids into our economy or into our area are pushing this vaccine. That's the pharmaceutical industry.
Right. Same thing.
Yeah. That's also the same industry that saved a lot of lives and pushed in the smallpox vaccine and all these other things that have been really, really good for us. So let's not just forget that.
Well, no, and the African-American community had a hard time coming around too, because they also were targeted. So, I mean, people are going to not forget these big things easily. I think we've gotten over it. I mean, people see that your neighbors are dying and getting sick. By all means, everybody needs at minimum one vaccine or at least some natural antibodies. But I would rather take my chance with the vaccine than catching COVID. That's why I got vaccinated. I still just don't feel right about firing people who frontlined it the whole time when we didn't have a vaccine available. We called them heroes, took them donuts and posted signs in front of the hospitals and in front of all their workplaces. And now we're done with them. That's a trash move.
So if their employer decided they want to do it, you'd be okay with that? If it was a private industry and said if that guy that owned the hospital board said we're mandating the vaccine, you'd be okay with that?
Yeah, I said that. Private businesses can do what
because that's what a lot of it is.
Because I don't want it to be. I don't want them to get a huge penalty for doing that. I don't want them to be shoved over. I want people to be able to look at things, critically think on their own, and come to their own decision. Remember, that's a libertarian stand. I don't want to tell you, JD, what you need to do, but I feel like as your friend, I should probably say, hey, here's all the information I can give you. And then I trust that you are smart enough and intelligent enough to come up with what you need to do on your own. And then you would mandate it for your company if that's what you needed to do on your own.
But here's the thing, though, about the libertarian view. The libertarian view allowed, companies to decide a bunch of things, and they ended up with kids underground coal mining. So it's took the government to mandate people doing a lot of things to get to do for them to do the right thing. And so
there's definitely a place for government, but by all means, there is not a place for big government. There's just not. Big government is not anything. I mean, unless you just want to be China, there is no place for big government.
I think there's big government in other places that ain't China, but it's fine.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about something else. Something I found interesting, and this was Joe Rogan this week, or I guess it was, this past week, had on, is it Sanjay Gupta? Is that how you say the name? Okay. Yeah. Had him on, and he just basically straight up called, and the thing is Gupta's their medical guy, right? He's their medical guy for CNN.
Yeah. I'm all for it, Knox, by the way. Just go ahead.
And he is, he basically called him out and called CNN out for lying about him. And, kind of went through the headlines of, Joe Rogan has taken a horse dewormer, things like that, which was not true. It was prescribed by his doctor. There is a human form of ivermectin. And so he kind of called out CNN, and Sanjay Gupta had no idea that they'd even done it, or said he didn't know, hadn't seen the headlines, hadn't seen any of that. And I was just interested to get your all's reactions to what Rogan did. And then, like the next night, Gupta went on Don Lemon's show, and they essentially backed up the lies. Essentially just kind of, went on and said, no, Joe Rogan did take something that is used for horse dewormer. That's true. It's not been prescribed to treat COVID-19. It's not one of the recommended, treatments or therapeutics, things like that. So JD, kind of let me know I guess kind of where you stand on that, because I know you watch CNN sometimes, don't you?
Sure, yeah.
And this has been a common occurrence with CNN that they lie about things, and I'm sure others too. And I'm not just saying, I'm sure Fox News does it too, and,
But we've
and
never
all
talked
the
about
others.
that. That's fine.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. But it's kind of a common thing with all media.
It is.
To
I mean, if we
splash
want
the
to talk about all the
headline.
lies that Tucker Carlson did, I mean, we would have a whole show every week on just what Tucker Carlson said during the week on Fox News, because that guy is, you're talking about a conspiracy theorist with zero proof. That's your guy.
Yeah, but nobody's called them out straight to their face like Joe Rogan did to,
They have, but Joe
Sanjay
Rogan
Gupta
has a
and
big
CNN.
following, and it's a news story. I get it. But at the end of the day, ivermectin, I guess it was prescribed to him. There is a human prescription that you can get for ivermectin. But what I understand, and Don, maybe y'all speak to more of this, and Todd, I'm sure even more. I think ivermectin is supposed to be a dewormer, though, right? Is that?
It's a parasitic, anti-parasitic.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
sure.
It's been used for goodness over 50 years. You're right. It is being studied for COVID. It is not an approved treatment yet, because we don't have we don't have big studies on anything really yet, except for monoclonal antibodies. So yeah, but it is in the pipeline.
Right. So again, so what did they say that was wrong again, Jimmy? Go ahead.
Basically, Joe Rogan just called him out for lying about him. They said, look, because I guess they more than one time put a headline up: Joe Rogan takes horse dewormer.
Well, that's false. They just lied then.
They just straight up lied.
Yeah, but to say that ivermectin is not an approved medicine for COVID is not a lie. It's not.
That's not a lie. But they didn't say that. That's not what they said in their headlines, though.
Yeah. That's
what they said. That's what I heard people say on CNN. I'm sure there's probably people or shows who went further than that. But no, like Jason Reynolds here talking about CNN ratings in the sewer. I think you're misunderstanding really how ratings work.
I think media's job is to keep us stirred up and to keep us divided. They're actually being factual when they say that he took a horse dewormer. That's what it's used for. But it's also, we have many medicines that are used for many things.
Sure.
They meant to design a headline to make Rogan look like he was a maniac, so they could make everybody else who used or prescribed ivermectin look crazy. That's why I have such a problem with all the media, Fox included, CNN, all of them. When I try to look for a story, it takes me probably 2 hours to get to the truth, because I have to check so many sources. I mean, the media has ran amok with nobody except for Trump blew it up even worse. But they've ran amok. They tried to set it up. Rogan called him out. And Gupta, I guess, I didn't watch the interview. You guys may have. But I guess, is his name Gupta? Did I get that right?
Gupta, yeah.
Okay. That Gupta said, they were wrong to do that. And then he went on the lemon and didn't defend them. Right, Jimmy Don?
Sorry. No, yeah, he did. He went back on Don Lemon
yeah.
and basically, rang the company, held the company banner. He sat right on Rogan and said, yeah, that was wrong. They shouldn't have reported it like that. That is not correct. And then went right back. And Don Lemon, who I can't, there's some people on CNN I like, fine, but I can't stand him. Yeah. And he went right back, doubled down, and they were going after Rogan because Rogan, and I think Jay would agree on this. Rogan is he's more of an issues person, similar to what I think all three of us probably are. And he'll try to research the different issues. And it just pissed him off. And because I don't agree with some things Rogan says, some things I do. But he just straight up called him out. And this is another problem why people don't trust for the COVID vaccine. They don't trust all this stuff because they get all this information. And Rogan calls him out, and then CNN comes right back and essentially doubles down and doesn't say, hey, we're sorry, we shouldn't have done that. They essentially went right back at him. And I guess JD's right. That's that's TV and that's ratings and that's all that.
It's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame.
It's not necessarily. I don't think that we're saying that CNN did that to do this, do the other. But maybe they was trying to save people from going out and getting ivermectin at the Tractor Supply, because that's happened. So maybe they was trying to do that. I mean, maybe the benefit of the doubt on that one.
Well, I don't know. This is one of those things where I'm kind of I don't know what I think. Because there have been doctors around here in Eastern, where we're at, that have told people, yes, this is a therapeutic, that you can use, and it has had some success. And you can use the stuff from Tractor Supply. Yeah, that's right. Tell them.
That's exactly right, Noxie.
That's right. That's right. So, like, there are people who, and I don't necessarily agree with going to Tractor Supply and getting ivermectin and then
do not do that.
I just don't.
Do not do that.
Yeah.
No, there is a human form, that you can use,
Right.
and if your doctor prescribes that to you, or you can get that from your pharmacy, okay, I'm fine with that. But I know of some physicians around here, people have told me, they said, yeah, you can use this and you can use that stuff. It's essentially the same thing. You just got to kind of, I don't know. Like, I'm not for that. I think if you can get it from your doctor or the pharmacy, then okay. But, otherwise, I probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's probably, from what I heard on CNN, that's kind of the message they was wanting, that we shouldn't be out taking, where they say Joe Rogan did it or not, I don't know. But you shouldn't be out taking horse dewormer from Tractor Supply. And I think that's, at the end of the day, I think that's the message they was trying to get out there.
No, you're probably right. You could be right, but it is an absolute fact that they had multiple headlines on multiple shows saying that Joe Rogan took horse dewormer.
Right. Well, we have this
shame.
We have this shame culture that if we think that you're making the wrong decision, we're not going to talk nicely about it. We're not going to say, hey, don't do what such and such is doing because of this. We're not going to do that. We're going to disparage you and shame you. That's kind of what we've done. I'm really happy to see everybody starting to push back on these little things, though, because we shouldn't shame people, because it only creates more division. Don't shame people for not knowing what they don't know. And like in CNN's case, they did that. They do that. Fox 2, all of them. They do that to keep it stirred.
Put Chase's question up there. I think
that's actually not a bad question.
Yeah. I thought about that too, because I thought, man, this is crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, it's a lot easier to just, like I said, take a vaccine. I don't like getting sick.
I bet your dad's very good looking, Chase. I don't know.
He is a cutie. I do not like getting sick. So I'm a vaccine girl. I just took my flu shot like 3 days ago. So
could you speak to
not
that
my thing.
What's that?
I mean, you have the conspiratorial mind of this council here. So why are people more likely to go out to Tractor Supply and shoot themselves up with a horse dewormer than go to take a vaccine?
Because I think their doctors told them it would be okay. The people that I know,
people died. Bro.
Yeah, but the people that I know that actually did it, their doctors told them that.
Oh my God, that scares me to death.
Yeah.
Well, then their doctors are caught up in a whirlwind. Then
and I think there is some misinformation out there. I think we don't know these days, and this is the problem. We don't know what's true and what's not. There's so much crazy stuff out there. Yeah. And I went through that myself, as far as trying to, and what Don was just saying, when you're trying to get information, and it sounds like what you just said about trying to find things out about antibodies, you have to dig and dig and dig to get the real story, and then not only anymore do you read a story from a website, the next thing that I do is go try to figure out if that website is liberal leaning or right leaning.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work to try to figure out what's right. And I think that's part of the problem, JD, is the stuff that, and we've talked about this 100 times, you get in these echo chambers because these things right here in social media feed you what you want to see, right? Yes. And so you don't get any of the other information to try to make an informed decision.
But if you do, I feel like, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I feel like
you're fine. Go ahead.
Even if you do get the opposing information, we're so quick to dismiss it.
That's
CNN. They're a bunch of liberals. Oh, it's just Fox News. They're full of shit.
Yeah, that scares me. That's what you think that these people are holding off for, because that's scary to think that doctors are telling people that. I thought about it. I also think that people are reading facts about COVID. The facts are it has a high survivability. The facts are that you can do better if you're this age or better that age. Those are facts. And I honestly think people are willing to roll the dice. I think that they think that if they get it, they'll be okay. And then if I get a bad case, I can run down and get ivermectin, or I can get these monoclonal antibodies or whatever. And then it turns out to not be available for them. I think that's why I don't like to gamble with my health. But I do. I think people sit around and think that they've got a better chance. That was part of
my thought process was, okay, it's 98.9% survivable.
Yeah, because that's all I heard from people.
Yeah, my age group, is not really high risk at all. It's actually
Right.
much, the survivability rate was higher.
Until the down came.
And I thought, okay, it's not something I'm that worried about. I got COVID. It was like having a really bad cold for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, or the flu. That's what it was like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it took me so long to make a decision, because I was like, okay, I think I'm good. And I told JD this, I don't know, I think maybe Dom was on here then. I didn't want to be first and I didn't want to be last.
Right.
I wanted to be somewhere in the middle. I wanted to see what happened, what the side effects were, because you're right, JD, science changes all the time. And they were basically shooting from the hip, trying to figure out what to do. And that was Trump and Biden's administration. Everybody's still trying to figure this thing out. Mm-hmm. And it was, I wasn't comfortable doing it. And then I got myself to a place, like Don said, there were some people locally that I knew that got sick. That gets your attention quick. That really does. That'll get your attention. And then with the numbers I was seeing statistically, I just thought it was time for me. And so I did it. And, but it's a good question, man, JD, but I have been told that by some people who did it, and that their doctor said, yeah, basically it's something that you can do. You have to be, watch how you do it.
Sure.
But, as far as what gave them instruction on what to do, and said it has been proven to be a good therapeutic.
Yeah. I don't know. I had something to say, but I can't remember what it was now.
I talk too much. I'm sorry.
Did we talk about the budget already? Joy talked about the budget and all that stuff.
No, we haven't got there yet, but there was something I wanted to touch on that kind of goes along with this, and it was something that we talked a little bit about last week, and that was John Gruden. And, he ended up getting fired the next day after we talked about it, because all those, and it was emails, not social media. Right. And I wondered, because, we're all kind of the opinion that going back 15, 20 years and, canceling somebody for that reason is kind of silly. But what really came out with him
was pretty egregious.
Yeah.
I know.
And it was pretty recent too.
And he checked every box. Like he didn't leave anybody out. Like women, African Americans, misogynist, homophobic. I mean, he didn't leave anybody out.
Totally. No, totally retract everything I said about him last week. And I didn't say anything defending him, but I was defending the fact that he was being canceled for something a long time ago. Had I had an employee that dug up on, that would make me so uncomfortable as a female that I don't think that I would be able to work in close quarters with somebody who had a thought process like that, even if it was 20 years ago. I would be crazy skittish. So I get it.
Yeah, and I don't think you can work and coach in the NFL and hold views like that and talk like that. I just don't think that's...
No, sir. Not this day and time.
So good riddance to you, John Gruden.
Yeah, and you shouldn't anyway. Black people and women have a right to live freely and not be bashed all the time. I don't get why everybody goes after minorities all the time.
And I think what he said was much more egregious than what Dave Chappelle said. Anything Dave Chappelle said during his show, honestly.
Yeah, it looks like Dave Chappelle is not going to be canceled. Did you all see that? I mean, people are coming in.
Some
and
people you can't
defending
cancel,
him.
man. Some people you can't cancel.
He's just too good. Yeah,
yeah,
he's
not
just
the
too
goat,
good.
man. No, and the thing is if you watch that special,
right,
and the way that
did you go watch it?
Yeah, he was telling a story. And he's the greatest storyteller ever, right? And making it funny. Like, he has a way, I was completely sucked in, but he was, I thought Dave spoke a lot of truth.
Yeah.
And it may not be the truth that the people want to hear. And a lot of times that's the problem, is he spoke a lot of truth. How much do I have to play a part in your self-image?
Right.
And I think I took that and I made my girls watch that clip of how much do other people have to play a part in your self-image. You have to love yourself and be confident about yourself,
right,
and live your life the way that you want to live your life. And who cares what anybody else thinks? And, that's why I talk a lot about with the social media and the, likes aren't love. It's, it's those things. So yeah, no, I loved it, dude. I thought it was phenomenal. It's one of the best specials he's done.
Yeah.
I agree. And I don't think, like I said, I think what John Gruden did was way more egregious and, more outlined than what anything Dave Chappelle said. And, good riddance, John Gruden. See you later, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this question, though, because this is something that, and this is true, I am very careful about how I type emails, about things that I post on social media, about things that I do.
Me too.
But I really am. And
Right.
talking about, black folk and gay people and all that is not, an everyday thing for what I do. But I'm still very careful about what I write because people now will go back and look for that stuff and try to get you. So I'm very careful about how I do those things. But I know that over the years, there's been times that me and my buddies are in a car and we're cutting up. And I tell Wells all the time, I'm like, if people heard us talk, nobody would do business with us because it's just me and him cutting up. Now, we're not saying racist things and we're not, we're not, I swear that dog has killed me. We're not saying racist things. We're not doing those things, but it's still things that I wouldn't want anybody else to hear me say, right?
Right.
Just cutting up. And I think everybody does that at some point. Don, do women do that same thing as far as kind of like girl talk, so to speak?
Yeah, we do. Of course, we have girl talk. We don't really have racist talk. Maybe I just don't hang out with racists or anything like that.
Yeah, I've never done that either.
Like on the level of this Gruden guy.
I have years ago.
We talked about when we were growing up, and I don't think that we had racist talk. No. I don't think it was really racist talk. There were legit hollers named, some bad names.
Sure.
We didn't know it was our normal. We didn't know. No different than we knew that Jimmy Don's shirt was called the color red. That's just how it was. We have girl talk. We sit around, we hang out, and we run our mouth. But mainly, we are always just bashing other women. Women are hard. Really, women are hard. Yes, women are hard on women. If we ever figure out that we are stronger, united, because we are the majority, I believe, of the world's population by a smidge, I think. If we ever figure out that and we unite, then we'll get plenty done. But we don't. We bash, attack. That's why I hang out with you guys. I don't hardly hang out with any women because they attack other women all the time. And everybody on here, look, there's Caitlin, and I'm sure Lisa's probably on here. Maybe Sam. I don't know where Jamie is tonight, but I'm telling you, girls will agree. That's what you talk about when you're in girl cliques. You talk about other women. Yeah. She's too skinny, or she's this, or she thinks she's hot, or she thinks she's that. And that's usually how it goes.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I don't feel like dudes do that. Do we?
I don't talk about other guys. I know.
No.
Here's my thing is, I really don't care enough about anybody else.
Me neither.
I
don't either.
They didn't even ride mine, really. People are like, oh, man, so-and-so was bashing. He was like, well, it's a one-way street because I don't give a fuck what he thinks. I don't think about him at all. You know what I'm saying?
I'm usually the type of girl that they're talking about. But I'm also the type of girl that will go and sit down beside of them and know they're talking about me and not care. I don't have to talk about other women to raise my confidence. I already know it. I already know that I'm strong and I'm whatever else I think about myself in my head. I don't have to bash other women unless they're mean, I guess. And then I won't bash them. You all know me. I'll be right up on them going, yo, you're a bitch. What's up?
Yeah. Oh.
That's how it is.
Big Joe.
Does that really count?
One.
I'm sure Big Joe thinks it counts.
I guarantee she does.
A little tiny.
No, JD, as far as, it's just something that I hate to think that anybody would judge my entire life on, something stupid I said. Now, like I said, Gruden's a different thing. Yeah. But when it comes to the cancel culture thing, it's just...
That's me, Chris.
Well, and you got these people, I guess what I'm trying to get at is the people that are canceling, that get together and try to cancel these people, are they so perfect that they've never done anything stupid that if somebody found out they did it?
Of course not.
Right.
I don't know.
Now, so here's, we're all guilty of this. And I'm sure you are, and I'm sure Dawn is, I'm sure I am.
I'm sure I'm innocent.
No, yeah, you're always the victim, Dawn. I forgot.
I'm everybody's cup of tea.
So just because you get to a certain point or understand a certain thing doesn't mean everybody else has got there yet. And people are bad to, once they get there, they expect everybody else to be there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
They want to judge people for not being where they're at. And that's just not how life is, man. People have different experiences. People learn at a different pace, and people are around people who are mentors to them that do a better job of mentoring and have better outlooks. That's just the fact.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good answer. It's a good reasoning. That's the part that always bothers me is like, look, because like I really don't talk. I just don't care. I mean, I know it's awful. It sounds awful. I just don't care enough to talk about anybody else. Like
Right,
I'm just trying to live my life. I'm trying to get by. You know what I mean? I just don't care. But I just find that people who do like try to go after somebody on social media, and like Dave said, Twitter's not a real place.
Right.
But you go after like you've done nothing, in your life that if somebody found out, I don't know. Anyway, but I do want to get to one other topic, and before we go, and it's something we kind of wanted to talk about last week, and that was this infrastructure bill. And I know we've had a lot of comments in here tonight, big government, $3.5 trillion budget. I think the Republicans and some of the more moderate Democrats are wanting to stay around 1.5. Let's talk about that. And Don, I'll let you lead off on this one. What are your thoughts on the infrastructure bill?
Don't know a ton about it. I don't think anybody does, right? Nobody. They're currently reading it. It's 2,500 pages. All I know is that the Republicans have agreed on 1.5, or I guess they have enough votes. I shouldn't say Republicans. They have enough votes. On the 1.5 trillion number, but Democrats want 3.5. I know they have some social stuff in there, like free community college. Is that right, JD? Free community college.
I know child care is in there.
Universal child care. I think expanding maternity leave, which, expanding maternity leave, fine by me. But really, that's all I know of it. I just don't know where all the money is going to come from. But why worry about money these days?
I mean, people are pushing back like that stuff's not infrastructure. It doesn't make a bit of sense to me. But because to me, it is infrastructure. Child care, things like that. Because, if you spend, and this is the number we talked about a few weeks ago before we did our little hiatus there. If I spend $7, the government spends $7 on child care, and they get back $15, that's good business.
I know. I don't know why we make choices, though, and expect the government to pay for our own personal choices. So, and that's just me thinking in my head. But
it's not about that, though. It's about the government getting back, because the government we can move forward and get back more tax revenue if more people work.
Well, if we didn't tax people so much, they would have money to pay for the child care that they want and things of that nature. But instead,
not making $30,000 a year, Don. It doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. If you had more money, if you made more money, employers need to value their employees. And then when you are paid, you should be able to take the majority of what you rightfully earn home, and then you're able to make your own choices. So, I have kids. You guys have kids.
Sure.
Before I got pregnant, let me tell you, every time these legs spread when I was in my 20s, I knew that was running a risk of getting pregnant. Heck, every time they spread now, I run that risk. So I have to watch. You all do the same, or you should. Everybody should do the same. Everybody should consider. That's such an easy this is an easy road for you boys with birth control. But either way, my point is, when you have children, you need to be responsible for your child and for their care. However, that doesn't mean the government shouldn't help and make it easy and give us options out there. I just don't know how I feel about government controlling every aspect of everything I do. I just don't get it.
So to me, that's not even the part of, it's not got nothing to do with this bill at all. Whether you have responsibility or not, because the part of this bill, because the part of this bill we need to be looking at is the juice worth the squeeze. If I can spend $7 and make $15, then who cares about the other stuff? If I can grow our middle class by providing child care to most Americans, then and make more tax revenue, then why wouldn't I do it?
But we don't know if we can.
They got
we're speculating all this.
Of course, that's what every time we do a bill, we're speculating.
Right. I'm not saying that we shouldn't support people and help people and give them options. It's just like, what Noxie's saying. It's just the ifs are huge with these bills. I would like to see people be able to make their own choices with their own money. But the way that we're going right now is everybody is entitled. We're entitled to every little thing we can possibly think of. I just don't know what happened to the America to where when you came over here, you worked and you got what you wanted.
This will grow the middle class, Caitlin. If I'm making $30,000 and my wife can go to work and make $30,000, guess what I just did? I made $60,000 a year and we grew the middle class. It's not hard. The math is easy.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
it ain't got nothing to do with entitlement either, Don. It's about being able to put people to work and pay more taxes. And,
I'm all for putting people to work. I am.
for
But
putting people to work.
I don't know what you're giggling about. I mean, honest to God, I
You don't want people to work. You don't want more people working. You
No,
want less people working.
I said I'm all for putting more people to work.
That's why I was giggling, because I thought you said
No,
I thought
here-
people work.
I thought
Here's my pushback, and Caitlin nails it.
So inflation is not going to. Guys.
No, look, JD, what you're saying is I don't disagree with what you're saying in principle. Okay, that
right.
putting
We're all in agreement there.
Yeah, putting people to work is a good thing. And if you can spend $7 and you can make $7 by spending that $7, that's good business. I don't disagree with you there. And I think in theory, that is right. The problem is, and it kind of goes back to what we talk about with the raising of minimum wage and all the different things, is when you do that, there is a ancillary cost. And that is the cost of goods and services is going up.
Sure.
And so if you're making $10 now and gas is $1, then okay, great, right? But if gas goes up to $2 and now you're making 11, you haven't really got anywhere.
Right.
It's still the cost of the goods sold is the same. And that has always been my pushback on things like that. And I agree with Don and some of the people that are commenting here in that big government is not the answer. How people made it in this country the last however many hundreds of years before we started giving everybody, because we are a mix. Somebody said it. We're a mix of a capitalist and socialist society, and we are. And I'm about to become Democrat as I start to put my girls in school, trying to pay for college. That college should be free. Mm-hmm. Right on. You know,
because why, Jimmy Don? Because why?
Because it's going to cost so much. The cost of education is so expensive.
So the inflation's already here, then, right?
Yeah,
inflation's already here, but we've done a thing about it. We kept our minimum wage at $7.25, and inflation's still going up. So why have we not changed that if we got inflation anyway?
Because you're going to have that ancillary effect.
But we're already having it. That's what I'm telling you. We've already got it. It's already here.
And let me say this, Jimmy Don's girls are also looking at Vanderbilt, which is private and super expensive. Okay. Yeah. There is still affordable school out there. Right. There is still free school out there. You can get Pell grants. You can get all kinds of financial grants. Let's not act this way. You can work for your employer and be offered. That's how I went to school. I mean, hospitals paid for me to keep going back to school. But so there are ways. And let me tell you, in Tennessee, we pay for it for free. So somebody needs to explain how we do that through the lottery. We never raise taxes. We do that in this state. You get 2 free years in this state. And it does not, I don't even have state income tax. So there's other ways of coming around and doing these things. Back to the kid stuff, because I do want to hit on that again. That really does affect women, and we need women in the workforce because that's how we set this up. We set this up to where the more people that we can get working in a family, the more they have to work, because it's really hard now for women to be able to stay home because everything costs so much. So, I would like to see us get back just a little bit to where you earn more money, or you get to take home more of the money that you earn. And then if you want a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home husband, you're able to. But let me tell you, when we get into spending, you never get out of this. This never goes back. This never rose back. Ever.
It's not going to now.
It just never rose back.
I want to talk about this when you get done.
Okay. So, and I haven't looked up numbers, but the source I was looking at is pretty good from what I remember. In 1970, college tuition was like 3% of your median income in America. And a house was like 10% of your median income in America. Mm-hmm. Now the house is like 130% of your median income, and college is like 35% of your median income. Talking about yearly. So we're playing against a stacked deck, and we're playing against a deck that the generations before us has never played with. And so if we keep on doing the same thing and expecting different results, we're just being insane.
No, I agree. We have to do something different because is that your boy, JD? Jay is Chase. Yeah. Hey, I have kids that are just a little younger than Chase. Well, actually, I have one that's 22. So anyway, I worry about that. I don't know how they're going to be able to pay for a house. I mean, houses right now, good
It's
God.
insane. I mean,
Could
it
you
really is.
imagine? So, I mean, we have gotten out of control, and I'm going to go over to Jimmy Don's side a little bit, although I've never heard him say this, but I think he'll agree. I'm going to go out on a limb a little and say it's by design. They want everything to be as high as they can be and as hard as it can be. That way we beg for the government to help us. If we beg for that government to help us, they're going to help us.
Well, it also keeps the people in power.
And they're going, that's right. That's exactly right, JD.
Right.
I mean, that's political science 101. Let's make it as hard as we can. And then you're going to ask me for help. Then I'm going to send in free college, free universal health care. I'm going to help you with housing. I'm going to help you with this. I'm going to help you with that. And then I've got you. You never go back. So we have to figure out in this.
That sounds like a great way to be gone. I'll just be honest.
Yeah, we have to figure out a way to go in the middle on this stuff.
Well, let me give you a good example is credit scores. Okay. Sure. The credit bureau, by design, to have a good credit score, you have to be in debt. People who do not have debt have lower credit scores than people who do have debt.
That's right. And that's backwards.
It's backwards. And if you can pay cash for things, that's exactly what you should do. But that doesn't make you a slave to the debt and to the whole thing. I think we all are hitting on something pretty important here because I believe that with everything. I mean, I put people in debt for a living.
I had a woman on my Facebook 2 weeks ago paid off her car and her credit score dropped.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. And it's what's crazy, JD, is revolving debt, credit card debt, which is the easiest thing to get people upside down financially, is credit card debt.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the primary drivers of the credit score.
Yep, that's right.
Because I can get you, if say you've got a 620 credit score, but I need to get you to 640.
Mm-hmm.
Go get a credit card and your score will pop 40 points and I can get you that better rate.
Right.
I do it all the time.
Really?
Isn't that a shame? Isn't that a shame that that's what we have done? That's what we have voted for and we have allowed to go in. And I'm not saying that we knew our politicians were going to do that specific thing, but why did we let things get so out of control for Chase and for Holden and for, is it Addison? What's your daughter's name, Jimmy?
Yeah, Addison and Ashton.
I mean, Ashton and them. I mean, what are we doing? We have to figure out a balance. I don't want my kids having to, I wouldn't want it for me. I don't want government controlling every arm.
No, I don't. Debt, government, I don't want that.
The majority don't. I mean, I love you, JD, and I love all my Democrats. But that's a minority.
But debt is not the same thing as government control, guys.
Well, it's by design.
But by design by different people, by the private sector, by the guys on Wall Street, by the bankers.
See, that's where I would disagree and say that they're all the same. Yeah, they're all an arm of each other.
All the elite,
companies, Wall Street, all of them are direct, and the government are all tied together. Yeah. And
then we might as well pass this bill and get some good stuff out of it. We might as well get free college. We might as well get free health care. We might as well get the roads fixed, the ports fixed, and some child care. We might as well get something out of the deal.
I don't disagree. I like the infrastructure bill, actually. I'm almost like them, but it's like every bill, right? And I think that's the problem. It's like every single bill. If it was 100% infrastructure, that we're going to go fix our roads, we're going to go do this, we're going to go do that, then I would probably be okay with it. But there's going to be all this other crap in 25,000 pages or 2,500 pages that they're sliding in, Democrat and Republican, that they're sliding in that inflates these bills. And I don't know how we pay our debt now.
Caitlin, I don't want nothing free. Nothing is free. I want my taxpayers to give me services, though. When I pay taxes, I want to get something back out of it.
I want all of my.
I don't care about free.
I want all of my politicians. I want every single politician to have the same pay scale as we do.
Yep.
I want
same
them
health
to have,
insurance.
I want them to have the same health insurance. I want them to have the same problems. And that's why with the child care thing, I mean, if you guys have a baby and you look at daycare costs, I don't know how people afford it. I barely afforded it. When I worked, I'm telling you, at one point, which I hired a private nanny, that was my choice. So I made my expense much higher, okay? But at one point, it was 40 to 45% of my salary was going to paying my nanny just for a few hours a day to help with Brooklyn when she was a baby. So we need to help people, but Lord have mercy sakes. It is
And the thing
it's a domino effect, don't you guys? I mean,
Yeah,
even
sure.
Jenny, we're all worried about it, you know.
Sure, and your nanny needs to make a living too. That's the thing.
That's right.
She's getting
Yeah, and that's why I paid so much. She was
Right.
worth. Let me tell you, I would have paid her. I would have put her on. She'd still be working for me, and my kids are grown. She was a lifesaver,
Sure.
And she needed it. She did. People absolutely deserve what they're putting forward in work, hands down.
Yeah,
and the guys, this is something that and Don, I'm sure already knows this. We already do this for like military guys, military families. A lot of times they're provided child care, and it's not because it's going to hinder people. It's because it helps them move forward.
Well, and that's the thing, and that's where, and I agree, like with the military, and even if you're a single mom or a single dad or whatever the case is, I know a lady who was on food stamps and welfare and all that while she got herself through school. And then she got her degree, she went to work, and she was able to get off of it. The problem is we get those things started and people never leave. It's just, it continues on forever.
It's okay, though. If with the child care, I'm not worried about that. It doesn't bother me because
they don't either.
We're giving people a job, we're putting them in work, other people are going out to the workforce. So I think it's a win-win.
Because I'm like JD. If I'm paying taxes, I want something back for my tax money because I pay a lot of freaking taxes. So,
and the child care thing helps. It helps women. I want it to be good. I don't want it to be like an ACA. I want it to be good. I want it to be good quality child care. Instead, we all know what they're going to do. They're going to give it to the slummiest ones that they can give it to. And I think that's what we thought with the healthcare thing too. But I really want everybody to have equality. I want JD's kids and my kids to have the same opportunity as the elites up in the coastal cities.
Yeah,
but
I agree with that.
Child care is the best way to get there, really.
I want to talk about this because I think this is important. And, this is obviously JD's son, who's a very bright young man, has a bright future ahead of him. But I think this is an interesting thought. And I know we're way over, but I'm feeling it right now.
I got here late.
Yeah. So I think most people my age, 20, feel like the American dream is dead. And my question to the two of you is that by design that the young people are being made to feel that the American dream is dead? Because I don't think the American dream is dead. I think that it's harder, but I think that it's always been the same. If you're willing to put it in and you're willing to work and you're willing to do that, put in the work, hopefully you have a little luck. And as my dad always said, hard work and luck, or I guess hard work or when luck and opportunity meet up, right? So I don't think it's dead, but I think that it's pushed to a lot of people through social media, through our news organizations, that it is. And like I push to my girls on a daily basis that you can be whatever you want to be if you go. And they're going to have more opportunities than others. And I know that's something JD said a lot, is sometimes environment matters, and I think he's right. But there's still the opportunity. Yeah, the opportunity is there if you're willing to go out and try to take advantage of it. So is the American dream dead for our younger generations?
No, I don't think it's dead. I think there's still people who's going to do great things, go on and do great things. People from this area that are going to go on and do a lot of great things and, have companies and head up companies and run companies and going to be great doctors and lawyers and all these things. But I understand the frustration of the younger generation.
Because we were that generation at once, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it is hard, man. It's hard to see what, 10 years looks like for some of these people. Where's my break going to come? What field not only provides good living for me, but fulfills me as a person. That's the American dream. You want to work. Everybody wants to work. Everybody wants to make a good living, but we also want to be fulfilled. We want a job and a career that's going to fulfill us in other ways besides our bank account.
Did you guys ever feel that way though when you were in your 20s? Like the American dream's dead. I just don't know that I can make it. I mean, did you either one of you ever feel like that?
Well, I didn't get to answer.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't think the American dream is dead at all. People are dying and fighting to get into this country so they can have a shot at what we have. I think the American dream has changed. I think we have remember, people used to just want a job, a couple kids, a house, and a car. Now we have social media. So now we want 2 and 3 of everything, and we want it to be really, really, really nice.
That's a great point.
We want more, 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 and more. That's where the American dream has changed, because when other countries look at us, we're very wealthy, and you guys know that. Our poor people are better off here. I mean, they do well. They have cell phones. We're big. We're eating.
I ain't laughing at you, Don. I'm sorry.
Mom, don't give Todd the big head. I am. Look, I'm sitting from. I'm not going to say that. I grew up here. I didn't come from from privilege shot out of a gun. Like some people have. We fought. We worked. I did jobs people made fun of. I did the jobs that people were laughing about, and so did you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, we didn't care. We earned whatever we could earn. But now you have people who literally will not get off the couch because they think they're worth something that their job may not be worth. I mean, the American dream is still here, but it has changed.
Yeah, but now we're going to go back, and then I think this is the point, bring it up. Minimum wage is so low, guarantee if it raised, people would be dying to work. And I think there's something to be said about that, because like we said, inflation has exponentially increased.
Mm-hmm.
And our wages have been stagnant for so long.
Right.
So that makes it hard, man. People, young kids or young men and women trying to start out in the world, trying to pay rent. Where you going to work at? You going to work at Papa John's and pay rent and then try to go to school, or you go to Papa John's and work and you're stuck there, and all you can do is pay rent and get back and forth to work. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I mean, but the thing is I did it. My first job was a Dairy Queen.
But that was the inflation wasn't what it is now, Jimmy.
Dude, $5 an hour. I mean, minimum wage back then was like $5 an hour.
My first job at Pikeville Meth. Remember, it was called Pikeville Meth.
That was also 20 years ago, bro. 25.
I know,
ago.
I understand, but
and now minimum wage is just $7.25, which is not.
And that's a fair argument. Like, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying that it can be done.
It can be done.
Yeah, it can be done. I mean, when I was in college, I worked at Goody's Family Clothing. I made like $6 an hour. And that's how I got by. Sometimes we would go cut grass. There were various things that we did to get by. We worked for Stanley Steamer in the summers cleaning carpets. It sucked, but we made good money doing it, and we were able to save up enough during the summers a lot of times to carry us through the winter. And we all worked other jobs to get ourselves through, plus paying for school. It's, it ain't easy. What I'm saying is the American dream's not dead. It ain't easy. And it's probably harder than it was when we were that age, but it still can be accomplished if you're willing to. You just got, because like I said, I knew I was going to have to work, because my dad constantly told me, you're going to have to work, period. Nobody's going to give you crap. Go get it. If you want it, you're going to have to go get it.
And so to answer your question about is it by design, I don't know, but I know that if you were born in the bottom 10%, you're more likely to die in the bottom 10%.
Yeah.
If you're born in the top 10%, you're more likely to die in the top 10%. Mm-hmm. You said people are going to make it, and people are going to make it, but the chances of them making it from that bottom 10%, that top 10%, are the same as a 5'7" man having a son who's 6'1". It happens, but that shit ain't often.
A lot of that, though, is parents telling their kids, oh, you're just one of us. This is where you come from. So you need to act this way and do this way, and do this and do that. You've got to encourage your kids to get educated, to work hard, and to know that they can change things. You don't have to stay at the bottom. You can fight and find ways. People are smart. You can fight and find ways. But, in our environment, in our particular region, it's really hard when you're at the bottom, because we've induced drugs in there too. And I mean, once you get there, then you're really, opportunities are scarce. And opportunities too in this area, I have noticed, especially being, the resident libertarian, moderate Republican, if you're Democrat in this area, you're not trusted. Like, I have a friend who, she told me, she said, Dawn, I went up for the same job and was qualified enough. And because I'm not in church and because I'm not Republican, that's literally why I didn't get it. So, I mean, there's all different types of things in society that we hold each other back on. And that's human. That's not government doing it or us not being able to work. That's us just being jerks to each other.
And it probably is, Braden, a rich man's world. You got to pay to college to get a good job.
That's not necessarily true.
That's not necessarily. That's what I was just sitting there thinking.
Trade schools or factories. You give them Toyota work and make a good living, man.
Yeah, no, you can make
$80,000 a year. Toyota's not.
And that's one thing Dad and I used to talk a lot about is the rate of return. Is if you're going to go to school and get a social studies degree, nothing wrong with that, but if that's what you're going to do, and you're going to pay $100,000, let's say, for 4 years of school, and you're going to make the max that you're going to make is $36,000 a year.
Right.
That's not a good rate of return.
And that's not my problem.
Right.
I shouldn't have to pay for that.
They made that choice to get that degree and to pay that much to do it. There's not a good rate of return. Now, I've told JD many times, like if Addison has said that she wants to run the family business, and if that is the case, she will not go to college. She will come to the college of my business, and we will learn how to do it. Right. And I'll teach her how to do it, and I'll teach her the business. And there will be some classes that she'll take because there are some things that can help her, but that's not what she'll do. Not everybody is meant to be a doctor. Not everybody's meant to be a teacher. Not everybody's meant to do those things, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Like JD said, there's a lot of good jobs out there, like the Toyotas of this world. But I don't want Braden and Chase to think that it's hopeless. Is anybody going to give you anything? No. They ain't going to give you nothing. If you make it, you're going to make it because you want to make it. It's hard work, and you're going to go out and you're going to go get it. Nobody's ever given me anything. Nothing. I earned everything I ever made. JD's earned everything he's ever made. Dawn has earned everything she's ever made. That is just the deal. And know that, and know that it's not any other way. All this bullshit you've been fed in your teenage years of what you've seen on social media, that's all BS. You're going to go work.
And let me just address this one last time about the American dream. Is the American dream dead? I'm 42 years old, and I'm just now starting getting on stage very much, man. I'm still chasing that American dream, so I don't think it's dead, obviously.
Yeah, that's here. Yeah. I mean, look, we live in the greatest country on earth, guys. I mean, honestly, we can do it.
Amen, Chase. Says me and Braden.
Yes, Chase. You said it, brother. I did. Yeah. No, look, you and Braden are what's right with this generation. Because I know where you guys are coming from, and I know what you guys can do. Yeah. It's just the thing is my poor daughters. But I preach this nonstop is nobody's going to give you anything. It's the life that you have here. You're going to be in for a rude awakening when you go out in the real world. And that's mine and your mom's fault for providing that kind of life, because that ain't how it is. It is what it is.
Let me say something about Chase and Braden, and I don't know them from Adam, but obviously they're really young and they're taking time to comment and to engage and to communicate. That alone, you can take it from somebody who's hired hundreds of people in all different levels. I've hired people who've made minimum wage, all the way people who make $450,000 to $525,000. If you can talk, guys, if you can just talk and engage with people and have good conversations, that right there will get you in the door to plenty of jobs right off the bat. And then they'll train you. If people like you, they'll send you to school, they'll train you, and they'll turn you into whatever. Yeah.
Knox, I'm giving you
we can get off the ship.
Will you come up here and change it?
I ain't doing that, bro.
That might be the problem, JD. It might not be the battery. It might be the guy that needs to change the battery. So
the motivation.
Yes. But no, look, I love that discussion. I've loved everything about this show tonight. So,
why are we being so nice? We ain't fought in weeks.
No, well,
we did a little bit tonight.
A little bit tonight. We got after a little bit tonight. I don't know, but I think these are all important topics. And, as we kind of got rolling there, and that's my favorite part is with the people being able to comment, it just kind of brings things up that we can talk about.
Well, we have smart fans, it looks like. I mean, they help the conversation flow. And that's a good little sample of what's out there. See, nobody's really right or left. Everybody's just trying to figure out, how can I have a house? How can I have a job and put food on the table? Simple.
His dog attacked. That's funny.
I wish he would have got you, Chris.
Yeah. Oh, any other topics we want to hit tonight, guys?
I just want to tell jokes for a living. That's all I want.
Knock it out.
We're going to come watch you some night, JD. When is your next show? Do you have one lined up yet?
This Thursday, I'm going to an open mic.
Yeah, we're going to have to come out. In Huntington. Okay. Yeah. Well, we're going to come watch you some night. Jimmy Don, you and Amy are going to have to go too. We'll all just go as a little crowd.
We can do that. I mean, I try to support JD as little as I can, but no. Listen, I've seen JD live. JD does a good job.
Yeah, JD, tell us a joke. I haven't heard anything. Can you do it, or is that too quick?
Yeah, I can tell you. I'll tell just a real simple joke, but this is one that I build on. 42 years old. I'm single. Been divorced for a few years now. Been going through a terrible custody battle. End up losing the custody battle, and so now I've got the kids.
I love it, and he does build off of that, and it's really good. It's funny, yeah.
That's funny, yeah. Because I was sad there for a minute, and thought, "Is this going to be funny?" And then it was. Good job.
That's the misdirection. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm going to throw something at you too because you're both boys and you get on my nerves and you don't even listen to me half the time, but the fans do. We need to talk about doing a special sometime around the holiday season, shooting together, live together, and maybe even inviting the fans to the place. Do you guys think that's a good idea or not?
Oh, I would love to do that.
I think we ought to have the chili cook-off this year. We didn't do it last year.
We didn't do it last year. We probably ought to do that. And in the Christmas special, when we do the Christmas show, that's generally, infamous. Maybe that's something that we could do.
No, I just checked. It'll be fine.
Oh gosh. Well, I say we have some fun with it and maybe try to get together and have a place to where we can invite some of the audience to come hang out with us too. Have a few drinks and some water, Mom, and some snacks, and have a party.
Cool. I like it.
Sounds we can do that. I'm down with the eating.
All right. Everybody heard them.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, whether we'll be there, I don't know. We may just let Dawn go and do the show by herself.
No, you guys are coming.
we may schedule it and then not show up.
I know, right? I swear, trying to hang out with these boys is like trying to herd cats.
Yeah, Dawn will tell us when to be there, but we won't listen to her.
Yeah, don't listen to anything I say.
Hey, Dawn, how long you been here tonight?
That's funny. Yeah, like she ain't lying, Herb. Yeah, we know it's like herding cats with me and JD. We know. All right, so let's wrap this bad boy up. Yep. Thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I know I loved it. I had a blast tonight. So, of course, you know where to find us on social media. Don and JD are posting stuff all the time on the Facebook page. A lot of good discussion going on over there, so go check that out. JD will even get on there and argue with you sometimes. I think it's funny. But a lot of really kind of thought-provoking arguments that have been made in there. And it's a good place to go learn and hear some different ideas about things. Also on Instagram as well. The podcast itself you can find on Podbean. That's where we launch it from. Then, of course, you can hear it on iTunes, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Anywhere there's a podcast, you will find it.
Jimmy, I'll just fill it up.
No matter how bad your day's going, if you just add bourbon.
We'll just go ahead and say bye.
Yeah, bye. Spirit fingers.
Yeah, spirit fingers. That's hilarious. I've done that forever. Look at him. He's all frozen.
So now that Jimmy Don's gone, I'm going to take over.